this age of transparency, investors are looking closer into fund fees. In London, Fitz Partners is working to break down mutual fund fees beyond the management fee and provide the total expense ratio, or TER, with individual components such as custody and administration fees.
Sadly, in this country, still again, a lot of people think about cost as just the management fee and not so much the TER, so we like to think that we're bringing this to the investors. For asset managers, this is very good business practice to check their costs against the competitors. And as well, this is part of their fiduciary responsibility to investors to make sure that they get a fair deal.
But fees at the service provider level may not be available in all cases, such as with hedge funds.
While an investor may not see exactly which fees are being paid through the fund, they can take comfort in two things. One is knowing that the fund manager has negotiated pretty heavily with service providers prior to contracting with them, knowing full well that higher costs will result in lower net performance numbers. And two, the fund managers put controls in place that a third-party fund administrator will make sure they adhere to.
Greater clarity into service provider fees would provide a new opportunity for benchmarking, but not everyone agrees on whether this is the right approach.
As for service providers, like the like of custodian and administrators, for them it's important to benchmark their costs against their competitors, and who would not like in a B2B environment to actually know how much your competitors are actually charging what could be your customers.
Benchmarks for service providers should be based on quality, not on cost. Reducing the cost of the service provider could be reducing quality. There's a certain price point that you can go to and becomes a losing proposition. We're not going to undercut ourselves or hurt the industry in that matter. The lower you go in cost, like I said, you're reducing the quality of the product that you're putting out, and it's not going to be good for the service providers, it's certainly not going to be good for the funds, and it's not going to be good for the investors as well.
Even without greater fee transparency, though, service providers are already facing significant cost pressures.
There's market pressure to get the right level of TERs for a type of funds. So what we find is asset managers are looking at keeping their level of management fee to the level that they need to keep their business alive, but also to keep a TER to the right level. As doing so, the only thing they have to do is, or the main thing they have to do, will be really to squeeze and put some pressure on the middle cost, if you want, as in the service provider's costs, whether they are custodian, administrators, other costs, audit costs, or all professional costs.
But perhaps one solution lies in more clarity as to what service providers offer.
The marketplace for service providers is huge today. There are more entrants in the market than ever before. Naturally, more competition will drive prices down. Additionally, there's no one-size-fits-all service provider or hedge fund, or fund for that matter. The more that the investors and fund managers know about what each service provider brings to the table, the better off the environment will be. In surveys about investor decisions, concerns over fees are generally lower than that over operational and risk controls, as well as the overall quality of the investment team.
Still, more transparency could be beneficial for fund managers.
We found that knowing that a fund is best in class in all fee categories is actually a very good sign of good governance of the fund, and it reflects very well on very many aspects of the fund itself. So we like to think that we're bringing a lot of clarity to the market with our fee structures, and as well we're providing a good tool for better governance for investment funds.